Karina, where are you now?
I'm just having dinner. Is something wrong?
Are you at home?
No, I'm out with my friend Hannah from my wine tasting class. You know her, right? She invited me to this really great restaurant that's always fully booked. I don't know how she managed to get the reservation, but there was no way that I could turn down her invite.
This isn't the time to be enjoying such an exclusive meal. Aren't you forgetting about something?
What do you mean? Was there something I had to do today? I'm pretty sure I didn't have anything in my schedule for today.
You were supposed to pick up Mira today after her tutoring class. It was your turn today since I went last week.
Oh my gosh! I totally forgot about that! Oh wait, it looks like she was trying to call me too. I didn't even notice. Poor baby. I'll apologize to her when I get home. I'll even get some ice cream on the way back to make up for it.
Aren't you even worried about if and how she got home? One of the other parents from her class ended up driving her home today.
Oh, that's good. Then there's nothing to be worried about.
No, it's not good. If that parent weren't kind enough to offer Mira a ride, she would have had to go home on her own. And I told you that I had to stay late in the office today, so I wouldn't have been able to go get her even if I wanted to.
But she's already in middle school. I'm sure that she's old enough to go home by herself. Her class is only like 10 to 15 blocks away, right?
But it's pretty late when she gets out of class. Do you really want to make Mira walk home alone in the dark? Aren't you worried that something might happen to her? They still haven't caught the suspect from the attempted kidnapping a few weeks ago.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing it on the news. He targets women who are alone at night and punches them in the face, right? They still haven't caught him?
Yeah, and you can never be too cautious about things like this. So we agreed to take turns to pick Mira up after her tutoring every week. Don't you remember having this discussion? And if you're not going to keep your promise, or if something comes up, the least you could do is to let me know as soon as possible. I'm sure that Mira must have been worried and uneasy that you weren't there to get her after class.
But you don't understand. The restaurant that we were at tonight has a waiting list that's over 6 months. That's how hard it is to get a reservation here. So when Hannah told me that she had a reservation, I just got really excited and lost track of everything else.
So you're saying that Mira's safety is less important than your reservation? Aren't you even the least bit worried about her?
Well, she could have just taken a taxi home, right? It's not like she had to wait around all night until one of us could go get her. Why don't you give her some money for emergency situations like this?
Of course, if there was no other choice, she could just call a taxi. But it's not really reasonable to do that every single time. You know how expensive cab rides are.
Oh, Calvin. There's no need to be so stingy about something like this. It's just one cab ride, once a week.
It's not about being stingy or not. We specifically chose this tutoring class for Mira because it had later class hours, and I would be able to pick her up after work from time to time.
Then you go pick her up every week.
I already go when I can. But there will be days, like today, when I need to work late and won't be able to make it in time. So that's why we need to coordinate with each other to arrange her pickup schedule.
Fine, I get it. Stop nagging me about it already.
I'm not trying to nag. I just want you to understand the importance of this. If something were to happen to Mira, I would never be able to forgive myself. That's why we need to take the necessary precautions before it's too late.
I forgot just this one time. I promise that I'll pick her up when I have to next time, okay? So can you just let this go already?
Fine. I trust you not to make the same mistake again. By the way, you made something for dinner tonight, right? I'm sure that Mira must be starving after studying so hard.
Oh, oops. I forgot about dinner as well.
What?
But there's frozen lasagna and some leftover chicken from last night that she can just heat up. So it's not a problem.
You left to meet with your friend without making dinner for Mira?
What was I supposed to do? Hannah called me in the evening that she suddenly got the reservation for the restaurant. I had to drop everything and rush out the door to make it in time.
But that's no excuse.
Oh, don't be such a worrywart. Mira is mature enough to heat up a plate of food by herself. She's not a baby anymore. If anything, she can just order some delivery. Anyways, I probably won't be home until 10 or so.
Okay, fine. Be careful on your way home, okay?
Thanks, but don't worry. I'm going to take a cab home, so I'll be fine. You can go back to your work now, since I need you to make plenty of overtime pay. See you back at home!
Karina, we need to talk. Can you come home right away?
What do you want? I can't just drop what I'm doing and go home. I told you that I'm meeting with my friends today, right?
Well, this isn't something that can really wait, so let me just ask you straight up. Have you been withdrawing money from my personal bank account behind my back? Not our joint account that we usually use for everyday expenses, but the one I keep for emergency funds. I just happened to check the balance on the account and noticed a lot of cash withdrawals that I'm not aware about.
Oh, sorry. I meant to tell you about it. But yes, I used some money from that account.
Some money? There's a good $5,000 that's missing from the account. You better have a good explanation for this.
Oh, come on. Don't be so mad. You said that the money in our accounts is our shared property when we got married. So doesn't that mean that we can use it mutually?
Yes, of course. And that's what I meant about our joint savings account. But I'm talking about the personal account that I've had since before we were married. The money in that account has nothing to do with you.
It might be money that you saved up before we met, but in the end, it's still part of our personal assets, right? So what difference does it make? Besides, I can't believe that you had so much money saved up and never even mentioned anything about it.
Like I said, that money was our emergency fund, in case something happened unexpectedly. So I didn't want to rely on that money for our day-to-day expenses, which is why I kept it completely separate from our main account.
But why did you keep quiet about it for all this time? You should have told me about it when we got married. When I found out about that account, I felt like such a fool for putting so much effort into cutting our spending all the time. There was no need for all this penny pinching when there was so much money left over.
Penny pinching? I don't understand what you mean. There's plenty of money in our joint account, and we don't live extravagantly, but we live a more than comfortable enough life. What seems to be the problem? I think I make more than enough to provide for you and Mira. We have a 2-story house in a high-end neighborhood, and I never felt that we had any less than any of our friends.
Yes, but we could have splurged on things more often, though. For example, I didn't have to cook dinner at home every night to save money on eating out. We could have gone out or ordered delivery every night instead. It takes a lot of work to prepare a well-balanced meal all the time. And we could have hired a housekeeper to do all the housework instead of me having to do all the cooking and cleaning around here.
Of course, if we both worked full-time, I never would have expected you to do all the cooking and cleaning on your own. But you're a full-time mom who stays at home.
So what? Are you trying to say that I should stay at home all the time and do housework all day? Don't be ridiculous. You probably don't know it, but being a housewife takes a lot of work.
I'm sure it does. And I definitely don't expect you to stay at home all day every day. If there's something that you want to do, like a hobby or something, it's definitely not my place to stop you from pursuing your interests. But you know that I try and help with the housework when I can. And even Mira has chores around the house as well. It seems a bit self-centered to make it seem like you're the only one who's bearing all the burden. We're not struggling with money, but it's not like we're extremely wealthy either. So unfortunately, we can't afford to hire anyone to keep up the house, which is why we need to do the housework ourselves.
I know that. And I do the housework, don't I? So what's the problem? What is there to be so dissatisfied about?
Just don't use my personal account anymore without my permission, okay? It looks like you've been squandering my money away since you found out about this account, but it needs to come to a stop now. You've been going out way too much and neglecting your role as a mother and wife lately.
But you're contradicting yourself then. You said it yourself that it's not your place to stop me from pursuing what I want to do.
Yes, I did. But there's a limit to everything, which you seem to have forgotten. And the way you're going about pursuing our interests isn't exactly reasonable. We need to have money saved up for the future and for emergencies. So I don't want you to think that we have any extra money to spend. And I would appreciate it if you would do more around the house.
What more do you expect me to do?
I want you to be at home more often so that Mira doesn't need to come home to an empty house all the time. And recently, it's always me or Mira who cooks dinner every night since you're never home in the evening. Mira and I have been taking turns cleaning and doing the laundry as well, since it just keeps piling up.
I also do the cooking and cleaning when I can. It's not all the time that you two have to pick up the slack.
That's true. But Mira is still in middle school and needs to focus on her schoolwork, so it's not fair that the housework should take away from her studying.
Don't you think I already know that? You probably don't even know half of what I do so that our household runs as smoothly as it does. If I weren't here to oversee everything that goes on in our family, nothing would ever get done around here. I already sacrificed so much for our family, but you want to get on my case for spending some of our savings? That doesn't seem too fair.
$5,000 isn't just some of our savings. And it's definitely not an amount that can go unnoticed. Don't you even have any remorse for spending my personal savings behind my back?
I'm your wife, so whatever belongs to you also belongs to me. And that includes your money as well, regardless of whether you've had it since before we were married or not.
Well, yes. Eventually, it's money that we were going to end up spending together. But don't you think it's wrong that you spent it without saying anything about it to me first? And on top of that, you tried to hide that fact as well.
Yes, I was wrong all along. So I won't spend any more money from your account from now on, okay? Is that what you wanted to hear? By the way, I hope you're not going to ask that I pay back the money that I already spent, because that would be blackmail. I think that I deserve at least that bit of consideration for all the years of work I put in for our family. Don't you think?
But I've always budgeted a monthly allowance for you to spend freely every month. And you still want more.
$500 every month is nowhere near enough. I mean, a college student working a minimum wage job earns even more than that.
But whatever purchases that you need to make for yourself, like clothes and stuff, you charge it to our joint credit card.
Well, I know it's hard to put a monetary value on a housewife's job, but I definitely think that I deserve more than just $500. Why do you always have to be such a penny pincher?
I don't understand. I only budget $300 for myself every month.
That's obviously because women need to spend more money on themselves than men. Don't act like you know what it takes to keep up appearances as a woman. Anyways, this conversation is getting nowhere. There's no point in trying to make you understand since you're being so stubborn. And if you're going to keep nagging me about money and my spending habits even when I get home, I'll have to seriously consider getting a divorce. I've really had enough of this talk already.
A divorce? Don't you think that's a bit extreme? But fine. I won't bring this up anymore.
Actually, you never should have brought it up in the first place. All of this arguing back and forth did nothing but give me a huge headache. And one last thing. If you expect me to do more around the house, then you better do your part as well. In other words, you better earn enough money for me to keep up my current lifestyle without having to dip into our savings.
Karina, what's going on? You better have a good explanation for this.
What in the world are you talking about?
Is it true that you never gave Mira her allowance for this month?
Oh yeah, it's true. I was a bit short to pay our bills this month, so I didn't have enough left over to give her an allowance. What's the big deal?
But we've always given her a monthly allowance, ever since she entered middle school. Besides, her allowance is only $30 a month. What difference could it possibly make in paying our household expenses? Don't tell me you're taking it out on her now that you don't have access to my savings anymore.
Oh, please. Is that what you really think? What kind of a horrible mother do you think I am?
Well, it just doesn't make sense then. You don't even make the effort to cook dinner these days. And it doesn't even look like you go to the supermarket because our fridge and pantry are basically empty all the time. What are you spending all of our money on then?
I don't exactly remember everything that I'm spending on, but everything just costs money. And my measly allowance, if you could even call it that, is nowhere near enough what I really need. You know, my weekly wine tasting classes, lunch with friends. Oh, and recently I've been spending most of my money on my favorite boy band group.
That's right. You mentioned something about going to an event today, right?
Exactly. Their performance is about to begin, so I have to go now, okay?
That's enough! You're really starting to get out of line now.
Huh? What do you mean?
It's totally irresponsible of you to go out almost every night, especially since you've been neglecting everything that needs to be done at home. We can't take this anymore. We're at the end of our patience now.
We? Is Mira in on this too?
Yes, she definitely agrees with everything I've been saying.
Really? That's strange, though. When I told her that you had a lot of money saved up in an account that you kept hidden from us, she seemed pretty turned off by it.
You mean that she was turned off by your behavior regarding that money, right? She said that she was shocked to learn that you were using that money behind my back and spending it all on yourself.
Oh, really? That's what she told you, huh? And what you're saying is that this is all my fault? Fine! Then I'll just move out. If you think that I'm going to sit back and let you put the entire blame on me, you don't know me well enough. But just know that I'm at my wit's end with your ridiculous accusations.
You want to move out?
Yes. And let's get a divorce while we're at it, too.
But are you sure that's what you really want?
Well, Mira's already in middle school and she doesn't need me to be around as much as she used to. So I don't see any reason why I should stay. It's not like you really need me around here anyways. And it definitely doesn't feel like you want me around anymore. Besides, I'm sick and tired of you questioning me about where I am or what I'm spending all the time. I just want to be free.
I see. Then I suppose that there's no point in trying to convince you otherwise.
Exactly. Anyways, I'll sign the divorce papers as soon as I get home. So just send it to your lawyer as soon as you sign it as well.
Are you sure that this is what you really want? You're not going to regret doing any of this?
Don't be silly. Of course not. Especially since you're the one who's going to feel completely lost when I'm gone. At this point, I don't care anymore if you and Mira beg and plead for me to stay. I've already made up my mind that I'm moving out, so don't even try to stop me. I'll make sure that you regret everything that you've blamed me for. Calvin? How's everything going for you and Mira?
I'm a bit surprised to hear from you, especially since you've been ignoring all of my calls until now. What do you want?
Well, I just never imagined that you and Mira would team up on me like that and blame me for making such a small mistake. And I felt betrayed because I thought that at least Mira would always take my side. But she actually had the nerve to accuse me of being a bad mother. So I was just really frustrated and took it out on the two of you.
So that's your excuse for walking out in the middle of a serious discussion? You were frustrated. That's just absurd. How do you call yourself a mature adult if you don't even have the consideration to hear out an argument? It's like you just turned your back on a difficult situation because you don't want to face reality and take responsibility for your own actions.
I only walked out because the two of you would just not let it go. I just couldn't deal with the constant nagging anymore. Like I was the only one who was to blame for what happened. Anyways, back to the reason why I messaged you in the first place. It's about time that the two of you are starting to regret the way things ended up, right?
What do you mean?
Well, it's obvious that things at home must be such a wreck since I moved out. And you're finally starting to realize that you need me to keep things in order around the house, right? Anyways, I've decided to forgive you and move back home. But you have to give a sincere apology for your accusations and beg for my forgiveness first. Oh, just so you know, I don't expect Mira to do the same. So it's up to you whether I go back or not.
Well, in that case, there's no need for you to come back here ever again.
Excuse me?
You heard me. There's no longer any place where you belong at home. Besides, I've already mailed our divorce papers to my lawyer.
What do you mean? You actually filed for divorce?
Exactly. You threw those papers in my face when you stormed out that day. Good thing it was already signed by you, because I was able to send it to my lawyer right away.
What? How could you do that without my permission?
What kind of permission are you even talking about? You were the one who signed the papers first and just completely ignored any of my attempts to talk you out of making such a rash decision.
But still, you didn't actually think that I was serious about wanting a divorce, did you? And I can't believe that you actually mailed it to your lawyer. That's just impossible.
Well, you don't have to believe me if you don't want to, but it's the truth.
But how could you do such a thing? I thought that you loved me. And there's just no way that you would file for divorce if you cared enough about me.
I could say the same thing about you, you know. You refused to do anything around the house as soon as you no longer had access to my money. But then you started using the money that should have been spent on daily expenses for our family, just so you can satisfy your vanity. How could you do something so selfish? Our family's needs should take higher priority than your hobbies and recreation.
Well, what other choice did I have? You made me promise that I wouldn't touch the money in your savings account anymore.
So that's your excuse?
Yes! And, well, I needed that money. Besides, it's not like we were in any kind of debt or were living paycheck to paycheck. But you still had to interrogate me about where and how I was spending the money. It felt like I had no freedom since you were keeping tabs on me all the time. And was it really that big of a problem that I was treating myself to something special once in a while?
That's why you suddenly decided to leave everything and move out?
Well, yes. Because I wanted to punish you for insulting me like that, so I left. Hoping that you'll realize sooner or later that you needed me around to keep everything running in our household. I just wanted to feel appreciated for once. I'm sorry, okay?
I'm not looking for your apology. It's too late for that anyways.
You don't really mean that, do you? Because I wasn't actually serious about wanting to get a divorce. You have to understand. All I wanted was for you and Mira to have a difficult time while I was gone. It was all for a little bit of payback.
Well, regardless of what your true intentions were, it doesn't really matter anymore. Mira and I haven't had any difficulty getting by, even without your presence.
What? But that can't be!
Why not? I think that it makes perfect sense. Ever since you started using the money from my personal account, you've been neglecting almost everything around the house, or only doing the bare minimum. So since then, Mira and I have been dividing all the housework to pick up your slack. And besides, we've been managing everything around the house between the two of us for more than a month now. And guess what? The house is cleaner than it has been in months, and we've been eating more actual home-cooked meals than ever. So you see, we're managing perfectly fine without you here. I mean, it didn't even feel like anything changed at all since we had already been shouldering most of the tasks around the house anyways.
What? But still, I'm sure there had to be some kind of negative change. I mean, when it comes to cooking meals, I'm pretty sure that your cooking skills don't even come close to what I'm capable of. You know how many years I've been attending cooking classes. Don't you at least miss my cooking? You know that I make a mean roast with all the fixings.
Sure, but not enough that it feels like we need you to come back. In fact, Mira's cooking has gotten really good lately, and she can make a roast chicken that's just as good as yours. And I've also been experimenting in the kitchen myself these days. There's a lot of cooking channels online that are pretty easy to follow, so I'm starting to get the hang of things as well. And just so you know, I was the one who attended Mira's parent-teacher conference almost 2 months ago. So you see, everything here is getting taken care of with no problems at all.
There was a parent-teacher conference for Mira's school? How come I didn't hear anything about it at that time?
Yes, and Mira specifically asked me to attend, so I guess she never even bothered to show you the notice for it.
But why didn't she say anything to me? I would have gone if I had known about it.
Well, maybe she tried to tell you about it, but you were going out so often at that time, she probably never had the chance to bring it up. Even I was starting to notice how rarely you were at home. You always slept in because you couldn't wake up after a late night out, so we hardly saw you during breakfast. And I can't even remember the last time you actually cooked a full dinner for our family. You always relied on frozen meals and prepackaged foods recently. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with taking it easy from time to time, and I definitely don't expect you to cook a full-course meal every night. But I'm only bringing it up because you did even less than what can be considered as taking it easy.
But I'm not our family's housekeeper. You make it seem like my only role is making sure that the house is always in order and warm food is on the table.
I know that you're not our housekeeper, and I definitely never treated you that way. But in that case, what exactly did you offer as a mother? I mean, you do consider yourself at least a mother, right? So what were you able to accomplish as a mother to Mira? Did you even make an effort to take time and talk with her?
Well, I was always busy with one thing or another, so there were times that I couldn't sit down with her to have such long conversations. But she's probably at the age where she would prefer to talk with her friends rather than her mother anyways. So I never thought that it was a problem that we didn't talk all the time, and it didn't seem like she minded that much either.
That's nothing more than an excuse, though, because you never actually did anything for her. Isn't that right?
Calvin, I said I was sorry. What more do you want me to say? I didn't actually think that you would file the divorce papers for real. I thought you loved me more than that.
Threatening a divorce isn't something you would do to someone that you supposedly care about. It's not a joking matter.
I know that. And I realize what a huge mistake I've made now. I'm begging you to forgive me. So please, just let me go back home.
I already said this before, but our divorce has already been finalized.
So I'm asking that you take that back. If it's not possible to revoke that decision, then we can get remarried to each other.
No, that's not even an option since Mira and I have no intention of working things out with you again.
Why not? So you're just going to betray me like that?
Don't forget that you're the one who betrayed us first by putting your own leisure ahead of our family's needs. Anyways, since that's settled, the next step is to start discussing division of assets and child support. Since this can get tricky because it involves money, let's make sure that both of our lawyers are in presence for these discussions.
Wait, let's just calm down for a second here. Can't we meet and talk things over before we start making any legal actions? I'm sure that there are some things that we can settle on friendly terms. And besides, I want to apologize to Mira in person. That's not asking for too much, is it? Anyways, I'm heading home right now, so you'll let Mira know that I'm on my way.
Oh, I forgot to mention that we moved recently.
What do you mean?
Remember we were talking about wanting to buy a house soon? And since it was just going to be me and Mira from now on, there was a condo for sale that perfectly fit what we were looking for.
But why? You bought a condo and already moved in? Without saying a single word about it to me?
There was no need to tell you anything, since we made our decision to move after the divorce. As a matter of fact, we just finished unpacking everything this morning.
What's the address? I'm going to live there as well.
There's no place for you here.
I'm really sorry for everything. I was really self-centered and immature. And actually, I've used up almost all the money I had on hand. I don't even have a place to stay for tonight.
Then why don't you go back to your parents' house? There's nothing I can do to help you now.
Wait, please. Let's just talk things over again. At least give me the chance to explain.
I think I've already given you more than enough chances, and I'm tired of hearing all of your lame excuses. And unfortunately, I don't have the time to listen to your complaints anymore. As a matter of fact, neither Mira nor I regret anything about this decision, so there's really nothing left to discuss. Now that you have as much time as you want for yourself, you can go and do whatever you want, whenever you want, without thinking about anyone else. That's what you wanted all along, right? Shortly after that, my wife and I met with an attorney to discuss how we should proceed with the divorce settlement. Karina kept apologizing profusely for her past behavior and begged to be forgiven for everything she had done. Unfortunately, Mira and I had already made up our minds that we no longer wanted to work things out with Karina. Her careless behavior started about 6 months ago, and she was good about hiding it, so went unnoticed for a while. But it gradually got worse with time. And by the time I realized what was going on, it was already too late to do anything about it. Even though she was neglecting the housework from the beginning, she still did her share from time to time, so I was able to let it go at first. But when I discovered that she had been using the money I had saved up behind my back, that was probably the last straw. By then, she had completely stopped doing anything around the house, and on top of everything, demanded a divorce as she moved out. That completely convinced me that staying married was no longer an option for us, so it was an easy decision for me to sign those divorce papers. I was frustrated with her lack of cooperation around the house, and furious about her spending habits. But even worse was her conduct towards our daughter. I'm pretty sure I would have eventually forgiven her for everything, if at least she were a good mother to Mira during all this time. However, that wasn't the case, and that's why I'll never be able to forgive her. I was absolutely horrified to learn that she was treating Mira like she wasn't important to her. My poor baby. Karina claimed that since Mira was a teenager, She would much rather spend time with her friends than with her mother. But it's hard to ignore the fact that the family environment still plays a large role in the development of children around that age. And personally, I cannot acknowledge anyone that would treat their own child like this as my wife. As for our divorce settlement, I agreed to divide our assets right down the middle. However, Karina was ordered to repay all of the money that she spent from my account, as well as to make advance payments for Mira's child support. So in the end, she was left with hardly anything. And because she had no money, she had no choice but to move back in with her parents. I heard that her parents were quite disappointed in her, but still took her in. And apparently, she is now working a part-time job close to home. She probably regrets throwing those divorce papers in my face, thinking that she could show me up. She never imagined that I would actually sign those papers, so it served her right. After everything that happened, she's finally making the effort to become a decent person. Perhaps because she thinks that I might reconsider the divorce if she can prove that she's changed. But don't worry. If only for Mira's sake, there's no way that I would ever think to remarry her in this lifetime. However, I can only hope that she will start acting like the mother that she should have been during her monthly visits with Mira. If she could at least earn back some of the trust that she had lost, it would be a huge relief to know that their relationship is going in the right direction. Mira is old enough that she will remember the bad memories about her mother, but I think that with time, it can be overwritten with better memories together. As for Mira and I, we started our new life with just the two of us. Being a first-time single father to a teenage daughter had its ups and downs in the beginning, but I think we're finally starting to settle into our new roles. It's definitely not all fun and games, but through our mutual interest in cooking, we've gotten closer to one another than ever. We take turns cooking for each other and judging each other's cooking, talking about certain cooking methods that we tried or interesting spices that we used. I never imagined myself discussing how to thicken a stew using a slurry, but it's an opportunity that I'm extremely grateful for. Mira never shows it, but I know that it's been a difficult adjustment for her. But I can't let her miss out on her childhood because of these unfortunate circumstances, so I plan to make every effort to support everything that she wants to do. She mentioned briefly about wanting to study abroad at some point, so I will start to build up my savings once again to make her wish come true. Providing her with full financial support is one of my many duties that I have as a father. But first and foremost, I want her to trust me completely that she has always been, and always will be, my top priority. I will do everything in my power so that she never regrets choosing to live with me, and I will always treat her like she is the most important thing in the world to me.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to see more content.